Come for the econ, stay for the pecs, am I right? Hello and welcome to episode 3 of The Economy Lately. I'm the lead economist here at FreightWaves, Anthony Smith, and I'm here with Crystal. What up? And this is episode 3. We're going to talk about a segment that's been hot throughout the entire pandemic, and before the pandemic, we're talking about housing and construction. We've seen month-to-month gains in double digits, but have you seen the latest numbers? No? Well, this happened. So it's no secret that housing construction is a hot market right now, and this didn't just start in 2021 or 2020. There's been some demand for quite some time now, and I mean, we can look back in 2019 where there was a lot of demand, but there were a lot of limitations as well. The headwinds were available lots, labor, and building materials. Fast forward to 2021, there's still those headwinds of available labor, lots, and building materials. Did I get that order right? Anyway, the same variables are still at play. And they're exacerbated now, especially because this little thing called COVID-19. When we're looking at housing starts, that just shows that ground has been broken and not that it's actually been completed. In the latest report in April, as of this recording, we see that housing starts dropped 9.5% over the last month. That's not because there's a lack of demand, but there's a whole host of other issues that are going on right now. And we're gonna get into those factors, but the first thing we gotta talk about is the impact of freight in the freight markets. So we care about housing starts, of course, within freight because those building product materials, a lot of lumber, and things like that, are gonna get hauled through flatbed or by flatbed trailer types. And that's gonna be a thing that we can see within Sonar. When we do a comparison between flatbed outbound tender rejection index and either construction spending or housing starts, we can see a relative relationship between the two. But it doesn't just stop at those initial homes being built. There are also downstream impacts as well. I mean, you get that new house, you don't want the same old appliances, do you? Of course not. You want all new stuff. We're American. We always want new stuff. New to you, at least. I mean, you're gonna want new stoves, new refrigerators, new furniture, and all that's gonna get moved by freight. And we can also see that in Sonar as well. Neat. The other big thing we have to talk about is lumber. Yikes. So if you've seen the news at all over the last year or so, you might have seen that lumber is up well over 3%. 3%, yeah, right, 300%. And when we're looking at the impact of what this is going to do to new home builds, this is going to add over $30,000 to an average new home build for a single family house. How did we get here? Glad you asked. So there are quite a few factors at play. We're not going to get into the deep history of all those. That's not what the show is about. But real quick, there was a tariff that was put in place in 2017 that increased the price of lumber coming from Canada. And that's put upward pressure on prices. But there's been other things like fires, beetle infestations, gross. Oh, and this little thing called Rona. You heard of it? And throughout 2020, on the onset of the pandemic, we saw that lumber mills curtailed production because, of course, health reasons, but as well as thinking that Americans were going to be reasonable and slow down on their spending on lumber and new homes. We're not reasonable. Americans throughout the country started ramping up on home projects for their existing homes, with whether they were home improvements or maybe extensions or just renovations on those existing units. I should also mention that existing units or existing homes that are being sold into the market make up well over 90% of overall home transactions. So those new homes that we're looking at, under 10% of the entire market, but it's still making a huge difference. But that lack of inventory on existing homes put upward pressure on not just existing homes, but of course, the demand for new homes altogether. We're gonna need a part 2, I can tell already. I mean, we haven't even gotten into the mass exodus from metropolitan areas or the West Coast, namely California, home purchasing sentiment, or even the big ugly thing, eviction moratoriums. Let's talk about that. Okay, so there's this big issue going on right now, and it's in the form of eviction moratoriums. I mean, they have been extended time and time again, but that's not really a solution. It's kind of just kicking the can a little bit further down the road. And I'm glad I'm not the person that's in charge of coming up with the solution for this problem. Right now, there are billions of dollars owed in back rent, and this is an issue not just for renters, but also for landlords. I mean, take it right now, if you're a landlord, you might be discouraged from this entire industry or even renting homes out. You might just be discouraged and decide this isn't for you and take those homes off the market. Or there could be this big influx of homes entering the market as more renters get evicted from their homes. And that's gonna really be an issue. It's not likely that the federal government is going to allow for these mass evictions to come through, but that doesn't make it any less stressful for those individuals that are still going through this in real time right now. They're stuck in a gray area, and it's rough. We have until the end of June to come up with an answer. We'll see what happens. So that's going to do it for episode 3 of The Economy Lately. Thank you so much for tuning in. Also, thank you to the best crew in the game. We got Crystal, what up? We also have Erin behind the camera, but she's also doing some dope edits. And we also have Ethan. I think somewhere Fraser is listening. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. And at the time of this recording, it's May, so that means it's Mental Health Awareness Month. But it doesn't stop at just this month. Keep it going throughout the year. If someone reaches out, listen. If you need to talk to somebody, reach out. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're out. Bye. Ah!